Welcome back. It's mid-July 2019 and been some good hatches. The hex hatch has been going pretty well, and just last video I did showed a couple of quick and easy patterns for the Hexagenia mayfly, our giant Great Lakes mayfly. But right now I'm looking to fill my boxes up a little bit with some terrestrials. Hopper fishing should be getting good here real soon. We've got really good hopper fishing. I've got a variety of different hopper patterns that work well. I'm going to show you a couple that I really like, probably the most effective hopper patterns that I use, and I've used them all through the Midwest, out Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, and just have had really good luck with them. The only variation that I do with this fly is size and color. The ones I'm tying right now are going to be kind of the standard go-to that I'll use in the Midwest, Michigan. We don't get a ton of giant hoppers. We do get them sometimes in late season. They're obviously bigger, but we get a lot of kind of a medium-sized hopper that a lot of people, myself included, call oak hoppers. You'll see them in the areas that have a lot of oak trees, or what we call oak barrens, where it's really kind of poor soil and sandy and nothing but oak trees, scrub oaks. You'll see a ton of hoppers in there, and they tend to be kind of a brownish, well camouflaged hopper, but you'll see them all along the banks of the good trout streams, especially if you have any kind of a meadow environment. So I'll show you that real quick. It's again a fast and easy fly to tie. These hoppers down here are a few of the patterns that I used to like a lot for my hopper fishing, and they're effective, no doubt about it. They're more complicated to tie. They take a lot longer to tie. They don't float as well, and frankly, if you're going to do a lot of fishing, you want to fill your boxes up with flies, with effective flies. So I tend to do things a little differently now. I mean, this one is complicated. It's got pheasant tail fiber legs tied in knots. You got spun trimmed deer hair here. It's a time-consuming fly to tie. It works well, but it's time-consuming. So these hoppers are my go-to hoppers. They're super easy to tie. They're super effective. By far the most effective hoppers I've ever used. I'm not sure exactly why, but they just work really good. Synthetic materials across the board, and really fast to tie. So I'm going to show you how to tie one of those right now. And I'll show you on the back of this piece of foam. This is the actual foam that I use. That's what I'll typically do. I'll take a Prismacolor or a Pantone pen and just sketch out the back of the hopper that I want to tie, and then I'll trim that out, and that's going to be the majority of the fly right there. So I'm going to do that first and set that aside. So quickly trim that out. It takes just a couple of seconds, and frankly if you're going to tie a batch of flies, which is always a good way to go about things, especially when you found something that works for you. It's great to do creative, artistic flies and enjoy yourself tying flies, but if you're going to fill your boxes up and go fishing, get a pattern that works and tie a batch of flies, tie a bunch of them, and set yourself up so you can do it in a hurry. One thing that I'll do to that little piece of foam on the bottom side, the fish will see, I'm going to put a couple little lines like a segmented hopper body. Simple. So I'm going to put that aside for right now. So to start this fly, I use a synthetic dubbing material for the underbody. And it's kind of I mixed a few. I got a sparkly olive, I've got a brighter yellow, and a little bit of a bright green. And you just want to create a nice pile of dubbing on your thread here. You're going to do 2 sections of dubbing. So this is the first one, and you just want to create a little bulk, and you want to go backwards towards the bend of the hook. You're going to go over some of this, so that's fine. You're going to get back to right about where it starts to make a bend, and you're going to come forward. Super simple, super fast. And you're going to get to about that point right there. Create just a little bit of bulk, and you're going to stop right there. Now you're going to do the same thing. Get a smaller batch, and might even want to grab a slightly contrasting color. So for this little chunk, I'm going to use just the bright green and a little bit of bright yellow, because there is variation on the underbody of a bug. If you ever pick a bug up and look at it, you'll see there's a lot of variation, and fish obviously see color, so variety is a good thing when it comes to tying a fly. So this one we're going to wind forward to about the eye, and we're going to create a nice ball of dubbing right there, and bring it right about to our midway point. I'm going to stop right there. This is where we're going to actually tie the fly off when we're done, right at that midway point. Now for legs, I like to use this rubber material. It works great, and I don't know why, but I've got this, I guess they call it a sparkle pumpkin color. It's got a little bit of metal flake in there. It's kind of a light olive, light brown color. This is one of my favorites. You can use whatever you want that looks like a hopper. This is a pretty good one too, but this one with a little bit of metal flake in it, for some reason, really gets them going. So I'm going to take just 2 pieces. That's all you need, really. And I'm going to tie one in on either side. And I'm going to tie the back longer than the front. You can trim it after if you need to adjust it, but I'm going to just do that. So I've got the back and the front. And I'm going to do the same on this side, closer to the camera. You want them to stay on the side, more or less. It's like that. That's it right there. Now, I'm going to take my piece of foam, tie it on top, and lash it down. And this foam compresses nicely, and it will hold your thread pretty nicely too, so you don't tend to have things come undone. And wrap it so it's nice and snug. And frankly, right there, that can be your fly. I like to pick the dubbing out a little bit on the bottom to make it a little bit buggier looking, but that can be it right there. Because this is a brown hopper, and it might be a little bit hard to see, I will quite often put in a little bit of an indicator, another piece of foam in there, just so I can see it. And for that, I'm just going to use some yellow foam. I tie this in a variation with yellow. I do the same drawing with the Prismacolor pen and use yellow. It works pretty well. So for this one, I'm just taking a little piece of foam, that yellow foam, and I'm going to put it right there. You can use almost anything you want. You can use some fluorescent yarn. If you have some fluorescent foam, you can do that. You can really kind of do anything you want. Overwrap it nicely. Whip finish it. Make sure you get right down in there. You can, if you want to, use a different color thread. Sometimes I will use bright red thread, which leaves a nice little red band right there where I'm tying off, because it is a visible finish point with that thread. Sometimes I like bright red right there, just because I think red is kind of a trigger color for trout, or any other fish for that matter. But that's it. That ply will float all day long, catch tons of fish. It's just a phenomenal hopper pattern. It's a phenomenal bluegill or bass pattern too. That's it. That's the top, that's the side, and that's the bottom. It's simple. Like I said, I'll usually go and sometimes I'll pick that material out under here. I don't really know that you need to so much. The color is there, the silhouette is there when a fish is looking at it from below. But that's a fly that when you're in the groove and you really want to whip a few out, you can tie a dozen in about 15-20 minutes. Probably they're that fast. And it's a great pattern too. So Get yourself some foam, some rubber leg material, and tie some really simple, really effective hopper patterns. Hard to beat. Good luck out there.